8 people dead, over 25 injured in another mass shooting, this time in Canada. Most of the news media hasn't really been covering this, but the perpetrator was an 18-year-old male who transitioned to be a female and carried out this attack on his former school. Most of the victims were children that attended the school, and then also his family who he killed before launching this attack. We've seen over the last couple years several of these attacks coming from this transgender or gender dysmorphia community. You think back to the Charlie Kirk shooter, the Minneapolis Catholic Church attack recently. All of these come from folks who struggle with this mental illness. So I do think it is significant. It's such a small population, but such a large amount of them are conducting these mass shootings, which is significant. So we need to look at that mental health crisis in a different way. They follow the same pattern that all active shooters have, in a sense that they develop a grievance, they become isolated, radicalize, and then attack. So it is no different in that way. But I think the radicalization is different because as a society, we've really propped up their way of looking at reality, which is disordered. And it's resulted in them, one, not caring about others' lives, but being so wounded and hurt that they are willing to then carry out and hurting and wounding other people on their way out. So as far as the school goes, really, this is a tough one in a sense of prevention on the front end. They typically are not going to have a really good understanding or any indicators that this is coming their way in order to increase a security posture or anything of that nature. It's unknown right now how the active shooter got into the school. That will be very telling, but often they get in, right? Just having locked doors is not a fail-proof way of protecting your kids. And so what we see is the response time for police, which here was 2 minutes, still allowed this person to shoot 6 people and injure 25 others before police ever arrived. And then he got into a gun battle and ended his life. So that was his desired end result, like many others that have gone before him. But it's an immense amount of time in a gunfight where you don't have the ability to fight back. And so this is probably the biggest prevention piece that I would offer, is that having an armed response that has a counter ambush ability at your school, at your business, at your church is the primary way that you're going to preserve life and most likely prevent this from ever happening at all. But in this case, they didn't have that. They just were sitting ducks until police arrived, and it resulted in a lot of loss of life unnecessarily, I would say. If you want more information on this, we work with schools, businesses, and churches to develop teams to be able to respond to these things, because you cannot rely on police when seconds count and first responders are minutes away. God bless.